It is 1:14 in the morning and I just finished watching Daredevil. Let's talk about it. If somehow you haven't heard about this show because you've been living under a rock, Daredevil is the new Marvel Netflix exclusive show that aired on April the 9th of 2015. The show stars Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock / Daredevil himself. Now, if you don't know who Daredevil is, just to give you a little bit of a backstory, Daredevil is the masked vigilante in Hell's Kitchen in New York. He's blind, which is his main characteristic, and what defines him is that he fights crime in Hell's Kitchen as a blind superhero. It is actually really incredible. The comic is great. I haven't really read too much of it, but from what I've read, it is actually really an awesome. He's an actually really awesome comic book character. And first of all, I want to say that this show is actually really incredible. I knew it was going to be dark and I knew it was going to be gritty, but I didn't know to what extent those characteristics were going to be in the show. And now I realize it's actually a really awesome take on the character, a really dark kind of real look at the character and what the character would be dealing with. Now, first off, with the show itself, I think Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock is an incredible choice for the character. I think Charlie Cox does a really awesome job as Matt Murdock, obviously as Daredevil as well, but he kind of gives off this really kind of suave, kind of cool demeanor. He's very charming in the show, which I think is really great. And the writing, obviously, is really great. There's a lot of comedic dialogue in the first episode. And I think it's important to note that I've only watched the first episode, considering it's almost 1:30 in the morning. The comedic dialogue is really great, mainly because of the fact that a lot of the comedic dialogue is said in a very serious setting. And by that I mean the things they talk about and things that are going on while this comedic dialogue is happening is actually really awesome and kind of off-puts the kind of seriousness that's in the show. Another thing to say about the writing is that there's a few cheesy parts here and there, but it's really kind of charming and it really kind of lightens the mood in terms of where they are, as in Hell's Kitchen. It's a very dark and kind of scary place in New York. I think a lot of the cool things that are kind of feeding to the Marvel fans is that the show actually really references the Avengers and the incidents in the Avengers. Obviously, the gigantic war between the Chitauri and the Avengers that happened in the first movie, and they do a really great job of sliding those references in there to kind of appease to the kind of fans of the movies that want to kind of connect all the storylines together. So I think the show does a really awesome job doing that. A really great character in the first episode that is really showcased in terms of his dialogue is Foggy. Foggy is a character. Oh God. Foggy is a character from the comic book. He is played by Eldon Henson, I think his name is. I have my notes at the bottom here. He's played by Eldon Henson, who does a really great job. I don't know too much about this character, so I can't really compare the two, but Foggy's character is actually really charming and actually really hilarious. Even his opening dialogue is actually really funny, and I think Eldon Henson here is doing a really good job of portraying the comedic kind of fun sidekick to Matt Murdock, who is kind of the more serious character, though he is suave and really charming. I think the biggest thing that a lot of Marvel fans are going to notice, especially hardcore fans, are going to notice is that the action and the tone of this show is actually really gritty and really brutal. The opening action sequence within the show, without giving away too many spoilers, is amazing. It's just straight up amazing. One thing that I really noticed that's a really awesome thing that they put in is that you see Matt Murdock, Daredevil, obviously when he's fighting as Daredevil, you see him get punched like crazy. That's to be expected considering he's blind and he can't predict movements. It's very realistic combat and it's very realistic fighting for a show that is very kind of unrealistic. Obviously, a blind guy being a superhero, or superheroes in general, very kind of unheard of. But you see Matt Murdock getting punched and you kind of hear each hit as they land. So I think they did a really awesome job. Netflix did a really awesome job portraying combat in this, and it's really satisfying to see that. The gritty action and violence is actually very refreshing, considering it's part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I could say. And by Cinematic Universe, I of course mean the on-screen adaptations of each of these characters. But it's very gritty, and there's a lot of blood, and it's violent, and it's awesome, and it's brutal action, and it's really satisfying to see that, especially from a Marvel character. Now, a line that I put in my notes here is that the sounds of bones cracking in combat involving a Marvel character is extremely satisfying. And when I say this, I mean hearing just like the brutal violence that comes with very real action like this that Daredevil is experiencing is actually really awesome. Now, obviously, these first few episodes are very real because of the fact, partially, that he's not wearing the full costume. I know the full costume was revealed, but if you know anything about the comics and the storyline, it's kind of following. Right now, Daredevil, Matt Murdock, is sporting the kind of ninja headpiece thing that goes around his head that really covers him up a little bit. So I think that's really cool. Okay, other than that, there's a lot of, this is a very casual type of conversation I'm having right now. This show is definitely not safe for kids in terms of violence. It's not the safe for kids PG Marvel show that we're all kind of used to in the form of like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and a lot of the other superhero shows, not necessarily just Marvel shows. It's really not like The Flash. It's more along the lines of what Arrow is, a little bit more gritty and brutal, I guess you could say. The cinematography in this show isn't anything too incredible, though there are some cool shots during Matt Murdock's blind sequences. There's a lot of cool stuff involving combat. Obviously, the cinematography in combat, especially during a rainy sequence in the first episode, is actually really cool and really satisfying. So the cinematography isn't something too incredible, but obviously that's not the main focus of this. It's no Grand Budapest Hotel or anything like that. It's just the show. The editing is also really awesome. That's something I can really bolster for the show. A few scenes involving a few heartbeat noises and blurry camera make for a super enthralling experience that is meant to kind of simulate blindness, which is really cool. I think they did a really cool job of doing that. Not much is given in terms of backstory for Matt Murdock. So the first episode is a little bit lacking in that, but it's obviously very intentional because they kind of want to really throw you into the show right away. So I think that's something they really did that's really cool. And I'm super excited to see how the show is going to progress. I mean, other than that, I've only watched the first episode, so if you've watched more, leave in the comment section below what you thought of the show so far. I'm really excited to hear you guys' opinions on it. Let's talk in the comment section. And yeah, that's about it. I'm going to go watch the second episode, even though it's already literally 1:36 in the morning. I'm going to watch the second episode right now because why not? I don't have anything else better to do. But yeah, as you guys see this, you guys are probably going to see this in a couple hours actually. I'll probably release this super early in the morning tomorrow. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. As usual, my name is Tim, aka General 8bit. If you like the content I'm producing and you want to see more, leave a like, leave a subscribe, and leave a comment. And definitely tell me if you guys are going to be watching more of Netflix's Daredevil. I don't see why not, but if you have a differing opinion than I do, I'm always excited to hear about that. And yeah, guys, thanks so much for watching. Have a good one.